So I have a little bit of an exegesis video today, and I have my Bible, and I'm going to read through John 10 and just give an exegesis of the text because I really find this important and interesting, and I was just thinking about this. Okay, here we go. I tell you the truth. Anyone who sneaks over the wall of a sheepfold, rather than going through the gate, must surely be a thief and a robber. But the one who enters through the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep recognize his voice and come to him. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. And he has gathered his own flock. He walks ahead of them, and they follow him because they know his voice. They won't follow a stranger. They will run from him because they don't know his voice. Okay, so what I find interesting about this is that this is basically saying that a sheep calls his sheep by name, and the shepherd in this instance is Jesus, and his sheep would be his elect people. And what's kind of interesting is it says that the shepherd calls the sheep by name. So this is personal, okay? So I find that kind of interesting. And it also says that whoever goes the wrong way is a thief and a robber, okay? So Jesus is the only way, and Jesus is the shepherd in this instance. Okay, let me continue on. Those who heard Jesus use this illustration didn't understand what he meant. So he explained to them, I tell you the truth, I am the gate for the sheep. All who came before me were thieves and robbers. So it says again, all who came before him were thieves and robbers. Okay, let's continue. But the true sheep did not listen to them. Yes, I am the gate. Those who come in through me will be saved. They will come and go freely and will find good pastures. So Jesus is the gate, and he's the way that we can be saved. The ones who came before him were thieves and robbers because they weren't following Jesus and they weren't saved. They weren't his sheep. Okay, let's continue. The thief's purpose is to steal and kill and destroy. My purpose is to give them a rich and satisfying life. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd sacrifices his life for the sheep. So this is talking about Christ sacrificing his life for us because he's the good shepherd. Okay, let's continue. A hired hand will run when he sees a wolf coming. He will abandon the sheep because they don't belong to him and he isn't their shepherd. And so the wolf attacks them and scatters the flock. The hired hand runs away because he's working only for money and doesn't really care about the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my own sheep and they know me. Just as my Father knows me and I know the Father, so I will sacrifice my life for the sheep. I have other sheep too that are not in this sheepfold. I must bring them also. They will listen to my voice, and there will be one flock with one shepherd. So again, Jesus is saying that he is the good shepherd. And again, the good shepherd is the one who sacrifices his life for his sheep. And interestingly, it says he knows his own sheep, and his sheep know him. And he said that he has other sheep too that weren't with him at the time, but he needed to bring them. See, Jesus knows who his sheep are. Okay? It's not just like he thinks, okay, well, these people might be my sheep, but it depends on them. No, Jesus knows who his sheep are. Okay, he knows. And he knew them before the world even began. Okay. The Father loves me because I sacrificed my life so I may take it back again. No one can take my life from me. I sacrifice it voluntarily, for I have the authority to lay it down when I want to, and also to take it up again. For this is what my Father has commanded. So interestingly, it says again how Jesus sacrifices his life for his sheep, and he does that on his own choice. It's not like people just force Jesus to die and he really just didn't want to, because it says that he can lay his life down voluntarily and no one can steal that from him. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, when he said these things, the people were again divided in their opinions about him. Some said he's demon-possessed and out of his mind. Why listen to a man like that? Others said. This doesn't sound like a man possessed by a demon. Can a demon open the eyes of the blind? So here people were having controversy. Some people were like, oh, Jesus is possessed. And other people were like, what? How could a demon open the eyes of the blind? So there was controversy about, who Jesus was. Okay. It was now winter, and Jesus was in Jerusalem at the time of Hanukkah, the festival of dedication. He was in the temple, walking through the section known as Solomon's Colonnade. The people surrounded him and asked, "How are you going to keep us in suspense? If you are the Messiah, tell us plainly." Jesus replied, "I have already told you, and you don't believe me. The proof is the work I do in my Father's name. But you don't believe me because you are not my sheep." Ooh, see? These people don't believe Jesus because they're not his sheep. He's already shown plenty of evidence that he's the Messiah. But they don't believe in him because they're not one of his. And also, there's another passage, not here, but another one, where Jesus said that basically everyone who belongs to him will come to him. Everyone that the Father gives to him will come to him, and he'll lose none of them. Okay, so if people are one of Christ's sheep, they will definitely come to him and believe in him. But he already knows that these people are not one of his. They don't believe because they're not one of his sheep. And like he said earlier in the passage, he has other sheep that are not currently with him, but he has to bring them to him. He already knew all that's his. Anyway, I'm gonna continue. My sheep listen to my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. I give them eternal life, and they will never perish. No one can snatch them away from me. For my Father has given them to me, and he is more powerful than anyone else. No one can snatch them from my Father's hand. The Father and I are one. Okay, so again, Jesus' sheep will listen to his voice, and he knows them. And no one can snatch them from his hand because the Father gave them to him. And he is more powerful than anyone else. Okay. Once again, the people picked up stones to kill him. Jesus said, "At my Father's direction I have done many good works. For which one are you going to stone me?" They replied, "We're stoning you not for any good work, but for blasphemy. You, a mere man, claim to be God." Okay. And interestingly, if anyone says, oh, Jesus never claimed to be God, then what were they trying to stone him for? It was because he claimed to be God. Anyway, Jesus replied, "It is written in your own scriptures that God said to certain leaders of the people, 'I say you are gods,' and you know that the scriptures cannot be altered. So if those people who received God's message were called gods, why do you call it blasphemy when I say I'm the Son of God? After all, the Father set me apart and sent me into this world. Don't believe me unless I carry out my Father's work. But if I do his work, believe in the evidence of the miraculous works I have done. Even if you don't believe me, then you will know and understand that the Father is in me and I am in the Father." Once again, they tried to arrest him, but he got away and left them. He went beyond the Jordan River near the place where John was baptizing and stayed there a while, and many followed him. John didn't perform miraculous signs, they remarked to one another, but everything he said about this man has come true. And many who were there believed in Jesus. Okay. So anyway, like I was saying, the passage is basically saying that Jesus has his sheep and he knows who they are, and he won't lose any of them, not one. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because it's like a personal and special love that Jesus has for his people. And he took names to the cross. Like he knew like who his sheep were. And I think that's a wonderful thing, because God has set apart certain people in this wicked and perverse world to be justified and glorified. And when you really understand that, that's a beautiful truth.